Hey, how's it going? It's Robin Smith, and it's time for the Robin Smith Show for Friday, March 14th, 2025. Welcome to the podcast. I can't remember the last time. I recorded on a Friday. The HVAC system just turned off right before I hit record. That's perfect. Listen, you can't hear it. I know it's going to kick back on. Who knows? Maybe I'll be in and out before it kicks back on. It is Friday, and I should say it's the Lenten season, and I'm not a Catholic, but if you give up something for Lent, by the way, you don't have to be a Catholic to give something up for Lent, but for those who don't know, this is the period between Ash Wednesday, which I think was March 5th, and Easter. And now that's killing me. Was it March 5th? Where are you? Yes, March 5th. Where you give something up. You give something up that you are tempted by, I guess, right? Because Jesus went out into the desert for 40 days. I should know more about this. I'm teaching my kids Sunday school. I literally signed up to teach Sunday school. So I need to know my shit. But yeah, Jesus went out 40 days, and that's where he that's where he fought Satan, right? There's many battles with Satan. There's Adam and Eve with the snake. Not even in the Christian or Abrahamic religions, but like when Buddha fights Mara, he, sits under the Bodhi tree and is tempted by all sorts of things. So anyway, in Lent, you give up what you're tempted by, and every year I add something. For some reason, I have this part of me that's like, let's hijack Robin's nervous system and just hopscotch or piggyback or whatever the right term is, and just add another thing. So this year I considered, in addition to giving up all of my favorite substances, last year I gave up complaining. So I stopped caffeine and pot and alcohol. And then complaining was like the first kind of, that's a behavior. Using a substance is a behavior, but complaining was something different. This is not an exogenous chemical like caffeine, right? Complaining is from within. And that was the first time. It was like, that's going to be hard because I complain a lot. I was raised by a lot of complainers, and it's just in me. It's baked in. It's a legacy burden. But according to my wife, I did all right. So every year I add a new thing. So this year it was like, okay, the traditional thing Catholics say is like give up sweets or something. And so maybe that's what I'm most addicted to, because other than like screens and my phone and stuff, but like I was like, okay, all right, let me give up either. I put my AirPods in a lot, and I was like, okay, should I put the AirPods in the buffet? That's where we keep like wine. I was like, let me put them in there or give up sweets. And I was like, yeah, let's just give up AirPods. I've been listening to Caps games and mostly Caps games, but without AirPods. So I don't think that's too annoying for my family to listen to, but what the hell do I know? It's better, right, to not be disconnected. Like, Daddy, help me with my science fair project. Daddy can't hear you because he's got AirPods in his ears. It's terrible. Dad of the year. Oh, by the way, did anyone catch the total lunar eclipse last night? Yeah, if you were in North America or South America, anywhere on the West, you could see it. Ideally, I would tell you these things before they happen. I'm sorry. Okay, I am sorry. It was the blood worm moon. I don't know why. I guess it's because the worms come up in the springtime. Maybe. I should have my handy-dandy astronomy friend on to tell us more about that. But no such luck. Anyway, what was I going to say? I was rambling on about something. It was a Jesus temptation. Yeah, okay, so I gave up AirPods. I gave up my headphones. So that seems like that's like a little bit more of the wussy move. So I guess what that means is next year I'll stack sugar. I will give up sugar. I remember trying to do an elimination diet. Is that what it's called? I don't even know. My family joined a gym last year, and then in January it was like, obviously you have dry January, but there was this thing where it's like, yeah, no sugar, no milk, like not even soy milk. I remember that's when I started drinking almond milk instead. I was like, oh, excuse me, almond milk is better for you than soy milk? I had no idea. No, I think it might have been like no bread. I can't even remember at this point, but my wife was concerned that like I would develop an intolerance, like, or maybe it was like no gluten, right? I think I could have bread, but it's like if you take this stuff out of your gut biome, I guess the bacteria that is used to break that stuff down, that bacteria is like dies, right? And then so if you stop doing something for long enough and then reintroduce it, you can be like, well, I can't digest that anymore. And I was not willing to become a lactard. No, not at all, sir. So I kind of caved on that elimination diet. But anyway, sugar, as long as, I don't know, I'm so stretchy. Sugar, I don't think there should be any consequences. To going off of sugar for 40 days. By the way, the Episcopalians, which I was raised in the Episcopalian Church, they don't, between Ash Wednesday and Easter, it's 46 days between those two events, between those two calendar dates. And so you have 6 weeks of Lent, but you also have 6 Sundays, and that doesn't equal 40 days. So the Sabbath, if you don't count the Sabbath, you get 40 days. And so Episcopalians are like, whatever you give up, you can do on Sundays. I mean, I'm going to a comedy show on tomorrow, and shout out Jimmy Dore at Magoobies, and it's like a 2-drink minimum. That's the policy at comedy clubs, 2-drink minimum. I'm going with my buddy Corey, and I was like, I'll have Shirley Temples. Like I will be tempted. The server will come by, can I get you a drink? And I'll be like, ooh, I'd love to order a Manhattan or a old fashioned or something, but no such luck. But if it was a Sunday, I'd be okay. These rules are interesting, but it is a season of clarity for me. I guess that's why I'm sharing it. It can be really helpful and clarifying to take a break and to kind of watch yourself and watch what you're ruled by, what you're governed by. And I guess one of my big takeaways is like, man, oh man, how dealing with stress is a lot harder when you give up your go-to coping strategies. You are forced to be with the demons, so to speak, to be with the burdens of belief, like, this is too much for me, I can't do this, all that stuff. And I've really been leaning into spirituality, particularly not just like Jesus or God, but like more of the elements, like the light spirit and the water spirit and the wind spirit. I've been very intentionally being like, okay, I'm shrouded in negativity right now. Let me go outside and literally stand in the sun. Let me get sun on my leaves. Let me be a well-watered robin. I think many people can identify with the idea of like, I'm stressed out. Let me go like take a shower. I feel better after a shower. By the way, speaking of water, what's her name? Veda Austin, I want to say. She was on Know Thyself podcast. For people out there with young kids who perhaps have seen the movies Frozen 1 and 2, there's this line in Frozen 2, I think Olaf says, water has memory. And this gal, Veda Austin, she's a water researcher, a public speaker, and she does this crystallographer or whatever, where she takes water into a petri dish and exposes it to something. That could be like, write the word beautiful on a piece of paper and then put that petri dish over top of the word beautiful, and then go freeze the water and then bring it out and look at the shapes and patterns and stuff. I mean, this sounds very woo-woo, of course, right? This is like, roll the bones to foretell your future. But what she does is there's repeatability in some of it where, I can't remember, I don't know this enough. You should just go check her out. Veda Austin, Veda, and then Austin spelled like the city Austin or the name Austin. But there's repeatability. where whatever the water is exposed to, it'll show the same pattern, and there's something there, even for the skeptic to go check out instead of just completely writing it off. So anyway, how did I get onto this? Oh yeah, the water spirit, whatever. I got to backtrack here. This is this is the sound of ADHD. Okay, Lent. Rest in peace, Gene Hackman. I haven't been on air in a couple weeks. So much happens. I really, really got to get better at this. I know I've complained. Am I complaining right now? I'm sorry. I got to not complain. I have bemoaned. I have lamented. I have promised. Is that true? I said I would do once a week, and I have not been able to keep up with that. Things have been just very busy. But it's amazing what the news cycle does, and I'm like, oh my gosh, well I'm not even going to talk about the whole Trump-Zelensky Oval Office thing or the address to Congress. Like, I have this document, I will just jot things down, but it's like so much, I don't know, so much time passes. But Gene Hackman, I wanted to say, he was honored at the Oscars. I don't watch the Oscars, but this year Conan hosted, and I'm a fan of Conan O'Brien. I love Conan, okay? I don't care who knows it. Excuse me. And I literally, I don't know, call me a psycho, but I literally just watched the parts with Conan. Now, I did watch, I think, the first whoever it was who won like the first award. I got pulled into that, but my intention was like, I just want to watch the Conan bits, But yeah, what else did I want to say there? Oh, my daughter had a sleepover, and I went to go pick her up at Rosa Parks Middle School because the next day my daughter's friend's older brother had a basketball game. And anyway, I haven't been in Rosa Parks Middle School since I was a 10-year-old, like playing a basketball game, and it was surreal. It was so surreal. I can't walk back into my middle school. I went to Farquhar Middle School. Go Roadrunners. That place got burned down. I can't go back to my middle school, so to speak. But I did play in only boys and girls club sports. I played volleyball in that gymnasium. I played basketball, and so to go in there to like pick up my daughter, and like I said, her friend's brother was playing a game, and it was just it was a flashback. Oh my God, the refs and the coach and the parents on the bleachers and they didn't have the scoreboard, unfortunately. They I can't remember. In my memory, I remember having scoreboards, but maybe they didn't do that. Maybe they did have that little lame ass, just a little like 3-ring binder where they flip the numbers. But anyway, yeah, it was. I don't know how to describe it. Just surreal, I guess, is the best way. It was amazing. I want to shout out. So my family went to Washington. They went to the Capital One Arena, and that was amazing. I scheduled like, I don't know, it was like 14 people. There was cousins and uncles and nephews and et cetera, et cetera. Like, it was the biggest family gathering at a sports game I've ever been to. And unfortunately, the Caps didn't win. We lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning, but it was so much fun. And Ovechkin now he's 9 goals away. I know we took a fall to the LA Kings. Unfortunately, got shut out by Darcy Kemper, former Caps goalie. But yeah, I'm like, I want to. My neighbor has season tickets. I'd love to go to a game and just be there. Ovi scored during that game. I was out in the concession stand getting, chicken tenders for the kids, and he scored, but then they disallowed it. Funny enough, my ticket number was 008, so it was foretelling. But he did get a goal that game, I believe. I think he did. But I want to see him. I'd love to see him now that he's in the single digits. I mean, there's no way I expect to be there when he makes history. If anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, Ovechkin's going to take the great one's record, Wayne Gretzky. I think it's 896. Is that it? Wayne Gretzky. Is it 890? 894? Is it 894? I thought it was 896. I guess it's 894. So he's got to get 895 to beat this. So he's 9 away. I guess he's 8 away from tying Wayne Gretzky. But anyway, while we're on sports, also just the Terps. The Terps are in the Big Ten tournament. We play the Fighting Illini. Am I saying that right? Illinois. Do I have listeners in Illinois? Is it Illini? Maryland plays Illinois. Okay, Big Ten. So go Terps tonight at 6:30. I'm gonna leave you all with, this is a short episode. How long are we here? 15 minutes. Not too short. I'm a ramble fest. I want to leave you with, excuse me, Sunflower by Momentary Prophets. But before I do, my wife's aunt passed away, and there was an online Zoom memorial service, celebration of life. And among many things, it was beautiful. But I bring it up because tomorrow I am doing it's related, I promise. Tomorrow I'm doing a session with, what's his name? Chris, why can't I think of his last name? Hancock. It's a multi-dimensional light transmission session. Now, that is something, maybe I can unpack this. He's going to come on the podcast next week. So just stay tuned. We'll talk about it, on the show. But I'm having like a personal session with him tomorrow, and that's going to be something. That's not therapy. I mean, his practice, his shtick is therapy outside the box. That's his branding. And so it's far from psychotherapy, but it is engaging in healing work and engaging in the spirit realm. And I'm very, very open and curious to see what happens tomorrow. But when I was checking out Chris's website, he had a blog post, and I promise this ties back to the memorial service. He had a blog post that was talking about like something like what I learned at Mount Shasta, or something like that. And it was a 3-part blog series. I still haven't read it yet, but I plan on it. But apparently Mount Shasta is the Earth's root chakra, I want to say. I had no idea that the Earth had its own chakras. Most of you probably have heard about chakras. Chakras are the energy centers. Usually it's associated with the human body, not the planet Earth. But the moment I found that out, so I found that out at the memorial service. My wife's aunt is going to be, she wants her ashes spread at Mount Shasta. And I had looked at this thing. I was like, oh, at Mount Shasta, where do I know that? Oh, that was the thing that the guy wrote about on his blog. Something interesting is about Mount Shasta. And then they were saying that's the Earth's root chakra. And I was like, what? I didn't know the Earth had chakras, but it makes sense if you have any kind of exposure to the fractal nature of reality. If you've taken heavy amounts of psychedelics, or holotropic breathing, or if you've entered non-ordinary states of consciousness, I guess what I'm trying to say is like there's this phrase called as above as so too below, or something like that. I'm probably botching it, but like, of course the Earth should have chakras. That it's sort of, at first I was like, wait, what? And then I was like, no, that makes sense. Of course, like we're all interconnected. Why wouldn't the Earth have chakras? And not only the Earth, but why wouldn't, the solar system? Every single kind of, as you span outward and outward, there's, my favorite analogy is the Russian nesting doll. Everything, I'm clumsy right now. I don't have the language to describe it, but I will say this. As an IFS guy, when I go inside and I connect with parts, well, I know that my parts of myself, my parts have parts. And the parts have parts. And so you see what I'm saying with the Russian nesting doll. So that's why like it was like, oh yeah, the earth has chakras. It's like, oh yeah, we are beings on earth. We are parts of the earth. Of course the earth has chakras. Anyway, I feel like I've said I'm repeating myself and I'm just spiraling now. I'm totally spiraling. And I'm not even on caffeine. Usually I'm like, oh, too much caffeine. I blame it on the caffeine. No. This is just my own psychotic neuroses, okay? Thank you for listening. And now I will leave you with Sunflower by Momentary Prophets. And tune in next time and I'll bring you Chris Hancock. And until next time, love you all. Robin Smith Show is produced by me, Robin Smith. Executive produced by Robin and Kelly Glenn Smith at Team Robley. Theme song by The Very Small. The show is engineered by one of my alters, Games Nabisco. Listeners can get in touch by calling or texting the hotline at 301-458-0883. Messages can be sent to robinsmithshow@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow the show on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Disclaimer. This podcast is for general information purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, psychotherapy, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. Note: no therapist-patient relationship is formed. The use of this information is at the listener's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnoses, or treatment. Listeners should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they have and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions.